Hello, and welcome to my 2022 interview series called Women of Global Interest. Thank you for joining us, and if you're joining us for the first time, thank you for coming. This is the fifth of 7 interviews in this year's series where I go searching for women around the world who are trailblazers making an important contribution to inspire and empower others, especially other women. So today's guest is New York-based award-winning photographer Susie Lang, and we're going to say hello to her. She's in New York City. Hello, Susie. How are you doing?
Hi, Diana. Well, the butterflies are beginning to settle now a little.
Well, this is going to be very relaxed and a lot of fun because we're going to be showing your work, which is going to take the pressure off. But before I fully introduce you, let me just say hello to Mark, who is producing this segment along with our team in Vancouver.
Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
Mark. How are you?
Fantastic, Diana. It's good to be back.
Good. And what I know you have a nice t-shirt today. What are you wearing?
Oh, it's a shirt that was gifted to me that says, "Love is my new normal."
Yay. That's gorgeous. Well, thank you for wearing
Thank you.
that.
I
Anyways,
chose it specifically.
well, it's perfect for today. And I just want everybody to know that Mark will be also monitoring any questions you have, and we're going to take those questions maybe throughout the broadcast, but also, probably more at the end of the broadcast. So in order to do that, just go to the chat, which is at the bottom of your screen. And if you put your cursor, you'll see the toolbar, or you can put it in the Q&A section, which is actually the better place to do it. So we're going to be doing that, and that'll be fun. So let me tell you about this remarkable woman. Susie grew up on a farm in South Australia with four brothers. Her escape was the one family camera that thankfully the boys had no interest in using, and she's been taking pictures ever since. Susie is a graduate of London's Photographic College. She has a BA in Arts and Design, and she has won the Kodak Award for her work. Recently, though, and this is why we're here, feeling her own anxiety of becoming invisible as she aged, Susie started photographing women over 60, creating the portraits that we're going to show you today of an underserved and unrepresentative demographic. And if you are like me and cringe every time somebody points a camera or the iPhone at you, this is for you. Susie also, I might add, has a successful practice as a psychotherapist. And I'm wondering how that impacts her photography and her ability to capture and illuminate the beauty of women of a certain age. Well, let's find out. Susie, once again, welcome.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you.
We're we're going to get to your pictures because they are the pièce de résistance. But I want
Mhm.
to just ask you that opening question, with the background you had. Why did you decide to add this new focus to photographing women of a certain age? In addition to just, feeling it yourself. Why did you actually do that?
I'm very passionate about photography, and I wanted to give myself more work to do in that field, and I found myself wanting a project, and I was thinking in 2016, the year before I turned 60, I thought, wow, there's a lot of women's issues going on and on the media. I think, how can I do something about that for myself and for others? And so I decided to uh, explore the idea of being invisible. And my gut feeling is that if I'm feeling something like that, then I'm bet your bottom dollar that there's
Mhm.
many other women who are feeling similarly. So I just started back in 2017. I went to the New York City Easter Bonnet Parade and handed out flyers. And I sent out about 100 flyers. And the most lovely story is that Dale, who is Artful City Style, she took one of the flyers and said that she was traveling with her photographer, who at the time then was Denton Taylor, a very good New York photographer.
Mhm.
And she said, I'm traveling with him and he's photographing me. I said, well, that's wonderful, but I'm doing something different, and give me a shout if you're interested. And lo and behold, she emailed me that night. And a lot of the women that I've connected with are via that connection, because it's not what you know, but who you know. And and so I started uh, I began the project and had a whole lot of women wanting their pictures. And
Interesting. Yeah.
as I've worked through that, uh, then of course fast forward to 2020 when we had the pandemic, and there were no pictures to be had, or people feeling okay enough to have photographs taken. And so I started photographing the nature, and then I started photographing my husband, and he photographed me. But I think the most important thing was for me is that, wow, what do I do now that I'm not distracted by going out and about with my camera? So I had to take a deep dive into who I am becoming, and so the work now is much more intimate for me, and really takes a dive into that. But maybe we'll get more into that a bit later.
Absolutely. And let's go to we'll start going to your pictures now, because we have so much to talk about, and they really are the vehicle to do that. So, I mean, I've looked at so many of your photographs. I just am gobsmacked at how you bring out the subjects and the soul of the people that you're photographing. But tell us a little bit about these photographs, and we'll stop wherever you want. So just tell us where to go.
Sure. I'd like to go back to the first one, because this is a woman called Carolyn Doling, and she was an investment banker. And someone walked up to her, I'm not sure where, and said, why don't you try silver modeling? And she's just done a stint on New York Fashion Week on the runway.
Really?
And yes, and I photographed her again yesterday, and a couple of other shots I did on her friend's balcony or rooftop. And so she's very inspirational and very gracious in her way of just strutting her stuff. It's like she's found a new voice actually in doing this.
Well, that must be part of it then, really, is it? The photograph becomes something of a stepping stone for the women. I can see that happening with what I see. I see some more
like
of
a real purpose, actually.
Yeah, interesting. So let's go to the next one and the next one. And I love this one. Of course, the hat makes it for me. But
This is Marsha, who's 80. And she first of all had a call from somebody when she was in the kitchen when she was about 50, and she thought it was a bit of a hoax, and then she hung up, and then the person called back again and said, no, this is serious. And so she's just a beautiful model in her 80s, and is working for Alembica, and is always looking for work in the model agency. But she lives in Pennsylvania, and a happy married life, and just is enjoying the attention that this brings her.
And let's keep going here, Jordan, in the studio. Look, I mean, this is incredible. I wonder, one of the questions I had watching them is how did you get them to be so open? Was that something that they actually came to the table with, or was that something that you pulled out of them?
Well, actually, each photo session is usually about 2 hours, and the older I've gotten, I'm now 65, I come away feeling completely wiped out, because I put a lot of energy into it. But I think it's just, what I've learned is on my website, it's about the art of connection. And if I can connect with somebody, then there seems to be an innate trust that is built. And I'm a woman in their age, so it feels very similar to life experiences, rather that someone has had similar life experience. There might be different race, culture, ethnicity, religion, whatever it is, but we're all the same sort of age that I'm targeting.
Yeah. And are they about, look, there's another great photograph. Are they reluctant at first compared to other age groups? In other words, there is that dividing line where we do cringe now when we get our photograph taken. Yeah.
I think it depends on each person. Certainly Marsha was very open to doing lots of different things, and as are Deborah and Faraha, and many other.
We're going to meet very shortly. Yes, yes, yes.
But there are a lot of women I've found who say, no, I don't look good in photographs. And once someone says that to me, it's a real carrot, because of, in part, the challenge to enable each woman to see their own beauty. And I'm not talking about outer beauty, it's just inner soul, inner essence, inner who they are. and it's a bit of a deep dive into finding that, because it's a well of a person.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Let's keep going here to show some of the others. I can see that. Oh wow. Okay, this is amazing. Tell us about this photograph.
So this is Mary Marino, and she's a designer in New Jersey, and she, I mean, who can stretch their leg like that? It's in their 60s. So it's amazing, and we often work together with different things. We've done many shoots together, and I think a bit like Deborah and Faraha and others that I photographed on a regular basis, is that we sort of know each other and
Mm,
know how things click and know how, and I know when I get a good shot because I get goosebumps.
mhm.
So,
Ah,
but,
that's
but
the creative process. Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I might say after the first shot, that's it, we're done. Because I've got
Really?
the goosebump, but it's just sort of enabling for the women to relax, really.
Yeah.
Just finding ways of being playful, because I think as older women, in many ways, have forgotten how to play.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's keep moving along here with,
Mm.
because we've got lots to look.
Oh,
I love this one because it's a display of three photographs, right? And I can
now,
see myself on all those outfits.
ah, there you go.
And how important is the outfit? In other words, do the women come, and we're going to talk to the two people you've been talking about, but
Mm.
do they bring the outfits? Do you suggest things? How does that work?
I always say to women, whatever they feel brings the best out of them,
Ah, okay.
and so it's their choice. And that people might have a different scarf, a different hat, a different outfit, whatever it is, but it's you know it's their choice, and I just work around with it, and I hope to make it fun and playful, just because I think that then gets a lot out of each of us. And Nancy, I worked in New York at the Alzheimer's Association, and she's gorgeous and very caring and about 6 feet tall. So it's like, wow.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Let's see some more there, Jordan. Keep moving along here. So, yeah. So I wanted to show some that of people that didn't, overdo it or dress up or something in a flamboyant way, because those photographs are amazing. But again, the purple hair, okay, right? Was that something she already had?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
she did,
That's so great. I love it.
he's a very good Australian friend of mine. He was in New
Ah,
York, and in the pandemic, she went back to Australia. So, of course, I had a lot of grief about that. That women from Australia who are here and then decided to go home. It was very traumatic in a way. But
hmm,
Adele has purple hair, but I think it's
love it.
short and more silver now.
Yeah. But goes well with the outfit she's got on
Yeah.
too. Gorgeous. Yeah. Here's another great one too. Yeah.
And this Alice and I have been chasing for some time. She is a model in Birmingham in the UK,
Mm.
and the first time I noticed her, I'm thinking, oh my God! And on her DM, she says no male photographers, and I thought to myself, okay, well, I'm a female photographer, so how would that be? I mean, this was back in about 5 years ago, and she said, I'd be open to that. And so we connected for the first time. I navigated my way in Birmingham, which is a bit of a nightmare, but and I found her in her apartment, and we went out in the streets, and this shot here is with her sitting on her rooftop, and some beautiful New York architecture design in the background. I just love
Mm.
that,
Love it.
and
Love it.
it's very striking, very striking.
Yeah. And what do we have next here? Yeah. And
Oh,
we'll just, Jordan, just go through these next photographs to show that
mm,
these are regular people, you know,
yeah,
they're not actresses. They're not,
years.
photo. Oh, she is. Okay. And we have a last one here of this series anyway.
Oh, that's my
I love this one.
that
Yeah.
is mother, and
Oh, wow.
no, she always loved having pictures taken by me,
Mm.
and she always had to put on her lippy like me. And very sadly, she died this year, but I was able to be with her. And so these are, I see so many pictures of her on my revolving screensaver that
Mm-hmm.
it's still alive, actually. So that's her. But
But
it's,
this to me shows, you know, a normal picture of somebody,
yeah,
but there's such a wistful quality about this woman looking
yeah,
off, you know, that I mean it tells a story of what is she thinking about, you know?
right.
That's what I love about photographs. But also, you know, I like also that you don't really cover, you don't, how much touching up do you do? I think that's the question I have, because this looks like what she really probably looked like, right?
It is what she really looks like.
Yeah.
And I don't do a lot because I don't know how to do Photoshop. It's a whole degree in itself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I just use Lightroom and I like the edit. I'll take out pimples or whatever. Not that older women often have pimples, but
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know, but I soften it. I soften it
But you don't
because
take out the years of experience that show in our face, which I think's, yeah,
I like,
yeah.
I want to be kind to
Mm-hmm.
women. I don't want to make them. I can make their faces. I can make my face look really harsh by
Right.
sort of upping the editing skills. But I prefer just to have it soften.
All right. Well, before we get too far, I want to bring in the two wonderful guests that we have today. There are two people that Susie has photographed at great length who have agreed to join us today, and they are Deborah Rappaport, who you can see there, and also Faraha Moy. And let's just welcome, ladies, and thank you so much for joining us. I want to hear from both of you and talk about the spectacular photographs that Susie has taken of you. But so let's start with Deborah if we can. Okay? So I must mention that Deborah has quite a following as a style icon of her own, and she loves sustainable fabrics, creative hats and outfits. She's an ideal subject, right, Susie? How,
Yes.
how did the two of you connect? Tell me. Deborah, how did you connect?
I think it was through Dale Burke, who Artful City Style, who Susie was talking about at the beginning, who lives in New York, and she's out and about with us, and we're kind of part of a tribe. And she said, you know, Susie was available, and I said, great, I'm game. I have enough stuff that I make that I would love documented, and I felt comfortable with Susie, and we hit it off. And it's been a few years already, right, Susie?
Yeah, 4.
Wow. So how did you decide? We're going to run some of the pictures. So Jordan, go ahead and show some of the pictures of Deborah. Tell me how you two decided to do some of these because these are incredible photographs. Just wonderful. Yeah.
Well, I love being outrageous, and I don't make clothes, but I make accessories, and I've been doing it for 60 years with sustainable materials. And one of my mottos is frugality is fun.
Mm,
And
mm.
Susie was game to come. I have a wonderful rooftop in my building, and we have a great light up there, so we shoot up there most of the time.
Oh my goodness.
And Susie's patient enough that I can put together 3 outfits in one meeting, and we just shoot, shoot, shoot.
Wow. Well, let's see some more of the
So
photographs.
this,
I just love the outfits. Yeah. So this is great.
and that,
Yeah. What?
so
Tell
this
us
is
about this.
another friend who has an Instagram site. Her name is Mary Jane Fahey, and her site is Glorious Broads. And
Wow.
so she put out a line of T-shirts that a bunch of us modeled. And here I am with my partner, Stan.
Ah.
And Susie came and photographed us. And it was so much fun. There were about 5 of us, and we just acted out.
And how did Stan feel about that photograph? Looks amazing.
Oh, he loved it. He loves it.
Oh,
He
look at
loves it. He's good.
this. Oh, Susie, tell us about this photograph.
This to me is Deborah very Hollywood. I
As if she isn't anyway.
yeah.
Right?
No, the thing when I photograph Deborah is that she just puts all of these outfits together, and I'm often blown away by her creativity in that. And we just play. She's got a beautiful white wall up there on the rooftop, and you can use that, or there's skyline, or there's that lovely fence where she can put her leg up onto that. Who can? Not me. And just I find that photographing Deborah is very playful.
Terrific. Let's see some more here. Oh. Is that one hat or is that two pieces that
No,
make the hat?
that's one hat.
Oh my
That's one.
goodness.
Well, actually, it was made from two parts because when I teach hat making, I have to start and make and put in progress. And so then later I have so many started parts that I begin to put them together. And that's become like my new form. And my philosophy, like in the picture before, my sister gave me that jacket. She was going to give it away, and I loved the fabric, but I didn't like the shape. So my philosophy is to make anything worthwhile, you have to be able to wear it inside out and backwards. So this is
Ah,
upside down and inside out.
good.
And it becomes a whole
Let's
other
see.
form if that's what textiles are for,
Oh,
to play with.
wow. Look at this. The layers. I love the layers. It's
I
brilliant.
love layers.
So
My
Susie,
philosophy is color, texture, and layering.
yeah, the one that, and that's is that good advice for women our age too? Because I think a lot of us are afraid to do too much, you know?
I think so because then you become sculptural and then you're playing with texture and color. And so you're
Hmm.
making a statement. And I always say, put 3 scarves on, put 4 scarves on. And if you think it's too much, take one off. But, it's not brain surgery. Nothing, you can't go wrong. All
Hmm.
you can do is be colorful and people are going to smile. You're going to get great smiles out there on the street.
Absolutely. And I do think,
And
go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I believe in curating your closet. We all have so much, but we forget what we have. And
Good point.
frugality is fun. We don't need to go out and be conspicuous consumption people when we can just take what we have and repurpose it and put it together in many different ways. It
Yeah.
becomes an act of play. It's joyful.
No, and to your point, I think women of a certain age tend to play smaller or think they need to play smaller when in fact, maybe we need to play bigger. And, I point this
Yeah.
out on almost every interview I do, but we are a generation of women. There are so many more of us than there have ever been before. And I think this is a real opportunity for us to be exactly who we are in any way. So I just really applaud you and what you're doing and Susie taking these photographs. Oh, look at this one too. Like the hats are amazing. I got
This one, a good friend of mine gave me, it was, what do you call it? It goes on the arm of a chair, a sofa. And it was just a beautiful
the
embroidered
armrest piece.
and
Uh-huh. Okay.
filigree. And I just made it into a schmata. That's
I
all.
love it. A schmata.
To me, everything's a hat. A
Everything's
lampshade,
a hat.
a
Got it.
paper bag,
Oh,
everything's a
that's
hat. It
great.
is.
Yeah.
I, I just want to add something here that a lot of
Hmm.
them he makes are made out of paper towel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I've got to bring Farha in here now. Even if we have another photograph, we can just go to that one. But Farha, let me just to bring you in, and people um, should know about you. Your list of what you do is phenomenal. You're a model, a singer, a tap dancer. I love it. You're a photographer in your own right and an actress. And actually, the last couple of days you've been working, as I understand. She appeared also, folks, on Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which just happens to be one of my favorite shows. So anyway, I'm so thrilled to meet you. And tell us a little bit about you and why you wanted to be photographed by Susie.
And you, because I had been told about Susie prior to meeting her. There are a number of other photographers that I've connected with. And one in particular kept talking about this woman, Susie Lang.
Hmm.
So I went and looked up her feed on Instagram and started following her because her photography was so amazing. And I thought, wow, I would love to be photographed by her. And then one day when I least expected it, I opened up my email, my Instagram, and there was a message from Susie expressing interest in shooting me. And I was like, oh my God, so,
Wow.
um, and, we were on and off trying to get it together. And we stayed after it. And finally we did. And it was a miserably cold day. However, the
Outside.
ex-
Okay. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
the experience was just so totally amazing. And of course I was nervous. But what I have found is that, uh, like Susie said, there's a trust factor. And
Hmm.
I immediately trusted her. And in ensuing sessions with Susie, I've realized how much freedom she's given me to explore me, to
Okay.
not be afraid to do so.
And how
You know,
so, Faraha? How?
just because of her level of calm and ease. And, I mentioned earlier how her heart shows up in her images. And she's just so naturally herself and at ease that it allows you to be at ease and to be more focused on being in the moment and not fretting about this, that, or the other, you
Hmm.
know? And that's been amazing in terms of how I go forward and how I see myself,
Yeah.
which makes a difference in how I see other people, So
Right.
there's a level of confidence that I've gained by being shot by Susie that I've never felt before.
Hmm.
That's, you can't put a price on that.
No, and let's put some photographs. So Jordan, just start rolling through some of these photographs of Rod to see what we mean. Again, hats are big, huh?
Absolutely.
Love
And I
hats.
don't have enough of them. This was
Wow.
Susie's idea.
Okay.
Um, we were
I
trying
love
to
it.
decide what to do, where to go. And she texted me and told me about this amazing hat maker, Harlem's Heavens Hats.
Mm.
And she suggested that we meet there. I had no clue what I was in store for. The most amazing hat shop I've ever been in.
Wow.
And, Susie just thinks so out of the box, so I find myself in front of the camera doing things that I would have never pictured me doing in front of a camera.
Hmm. Really? So
But
she gave you that amount of confidence that you could just kind of let yourself go a little bit.
exactly.
Yeah.
And because of the trust factor, when
Yes.
she makes suggestions, I don't ask questions. I just do what she asks me to do.
Yeah. Wow.
you
Well,
know,
let's roll through some more because we got some great photographs of you. Again, super dress.
Thank you. I
Yes.
chose the fabric for that and had someone make it for me.
And was this outside in that cold day, or was it
No,
during the day? Okay.
no, this was a couple of years later
Okay.
at, oh gosh, I can't remember, another,
Taylor and the
what?
Soldiers Memorial.
Thank you.
And actually, this was about 2 years ago to the day.
Really?
Yeah.
And Susie, what did you like? Let's see some more pictures, but what did you like about photographing for AHA?
Oh, well, first of all, I love her voice.
Yeah,
So,
me too. Great voice, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
and I found that Farah was very easy to work with, and as she said, I could suggest things to her and she would do. And so I had a lot of liberty and freedom in exploring that. And I think it's very much the relationship. It's, in my therapy world, I often say it's the relationship that heals. And then in the photographic world, for me, it's my relationship with whoever, in this case,
Hmm.
Farah, to enable her to just feel a little bit chilled out, and let's explore and let's do something that I would not normally do. So
Well, that brings me to the point is how does your work as a psychotherapist help you in photographing women over 60 in particular?
well, I think that I've noticed that a lot of women, and not necessarily these two that are here today, but really self-doubt a lot, and and once I found that once women are over 60, and of course that a lot of people would say even younger than that, but because I'm focusing on 60 and over, is that either your family has grown up and left, and or you've got a death or a divorce, or you're in a relationship and there's sort of a loneliness that happens. And if I feel as though if I can support another woman and hopefully she support me, there's an amazing network of talent that we can tap into.
I agree.
It's actually because of women 60 plus and my work with extraordinary women that has got me here being extremely visible today, which is I've had so many butterflies and lost sleep over this. But it's because of my relationships with them that they have shown me a way to be better at be more confident at what
Hmm.
I And so I'm eternally grateful for that.
I think
Um,
that's a great point because I think it does we feed off each other now. And as I say, that's the strength of this generation. Are there some more photographs I think of Faraha that we can look at here, like just to show that, look at the texture of color. It's just gorgeous.
and this beautiful scarf was designed and created by Rita White, who's an Irish woman who came to New York recently, and knew nobody, and has just started, creating scarves
Wow.
and
And
does them.
Faraha, do you wear that one a lot?
Well, that's actually not the one that I own.
Oh,
I had
okay.
a really tough
Good.
time, but
Yeah.
um, I do wear it. I
Hmm.
don't wear it a lot though because it's so precious, and it,
Hmm.
while I want it to be seen, I don't ever want it to be, oh God, she's got that scarf on again, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Totally get that. Okay. I think we have a couple more photographs. Here we
Mm.
go. This is just, bared down to the bare essentials, but what a beautiful, beautiful photograph.
You
I
know,
Beautiful.
love
what's interesting about that photograph is that at that session, which was, all of the sessions with Susie have been an amazing gift.
Hmm.
This particular day, though, happened to be my birthday, and I had a session with Susie.
Mm.
And, I think that was the year I
Perfect.
turned 70, I think.
Mm. Hmm.
Anyway, the pictures that she took that day were just amazing. And I begin to realize the value of how we see ourselves is ultimately through the eyes of those who love us. You
Yeah.
know, when
Hmm.
I look at Susie, there's a reflection of me in her eyes. When
Hmm.
she looks at me, there's a reflection of her in my eyes.
Interesting.
Because when I look in the mirror, I don't know what I look like. I know what I look like in that moment standing in
Hmm.
front of the mirror.
Yeah.
But if I'm talking with you and Susie and there's no mirror around, I have no clue what I look like.
Hmm.
I only hope it's good.
I'm sure it is. But that's a fear we all have, is that we're not really sure what we look like anymore. And
Right,
we,
right.
people take so many terrible pictures of us on their iPhones that we start to believe that that's who we are. And that's why I really wanted to do this particular segment because I think that's not who we are inside. I have a very, very good friend. I hope she's on the thing who says, her mother, when she was in her 70s, said to us, listen, I may look like I'm in my 70s, but I'm 18 in my heart.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And I think,
Absolutely.
that, we forget that as we're getting older, that's okay to still feel like that and still be playful, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and that's what you're demonstrating. Um, Tell me, ladies, I mean, we have talked about why many people in our age group kind of struggle with all of this, but um, how do you see this generation individually, this generation? And I call it a woman of a certain age because I reject the senior label, the elderly label, any of those labels. I think we're going to be women of a certain age all the time, for the rest of our lives. But how do you see this generation, not just yourselves, but the people around you, the women around you? Yeah, it always stumps everybody, that question. Yeah,
Well,
start somewhere.
what
I
I'm
think
seeing,
we're living, it's the 21st century and we've got so much freedom and flexibility. Like I don't have children or grandchildren and I don't want to be called grandma, like your other person
Mhm.
said, she feels like 18 inside. And, I live in a city, I live in New York and anything is possible here. So
Yeah.
there are so many of us just being ourselves and we've been ourselves our whole lives. So people say to me, would you dress this way if you lived in Tennessee? And I say, dear God, I don't think I would ever live in Tennessee. Not that I have anything against it, but it's not. I'm a native New Yorker. I'm going to die here. I don't know how to function out of New York.
Right. I love it.
So I think, and everything exists here. So to acknowledge age is just one factor of who we are. That's it.
I want to say that the other day I went down to Soho where there was a lot of New York Fashion Week and there were so many beautiful, beautiful young people absolutely gorgeous.
Mhm.
And I thought, I came home and I was quite shocked at my response reaction to that. And I I said to myself, oh my gosh, you're old. And I thought, no, no, no. I don't have the body that, 20, 30-year-old women do. And of course, who would love that? But what I have is much more life experience, wisdom, a real sense of having lived life and having different experiences. And I think in my photography, I want to try and reconnect older women of a certain age,
Certain age, uh-huh.
with that we don't have the physicality of younger women,
Mhm.
and yet together I think that there's a great combination of richness and diversity and wowness in. And what I want to be able to offer older women of a certain age, sorry, is that to really begin to see who they are. And it might be that we have to find that, to navigate the way of rediscovering who we are before we had children, if we had children, before we got married, before we had, life in our 20s or whatever. So
Mhm.
I'm very hopeful that slowly, when women can feel a little bit more confident, they might reach out to me and say, okay, now's the time for me to have a picture, because women often don't ask for portraits of themselves.
They don't.
And
No.
and and
Mhm.
I have a very good friend who's given a gift to one of his very good friends. And tomorrow I'm going up there to photograph her as a gift, that she was given a gift by him. So I feel really privileged about doing that. And I want to encourage people, if you're a niece or a daughter, and your mother is, feeling a little bit blue or down or whatever, just offer that as a gift to
Great idea.
to,
Great
to
idea.
really begin to see what I see in women.
Yeah.
And so
You're validating not only the women and their age, but this generation of women, I think,
yeah, yeah.
which is it's long overdue. Farah, what do you think?
I think that this is such an amazing time. One of my favorite hashtags to use is that it's great to be 72, which I'm now getting ready to change to 73. However, the
Good.
the thing that is really exciting to me is that this particular group of women of a certain age have a precedent that's already been set. People make all kinds of comments often about baby boomers, but what's true about us is that while we have navigated our way all along, there's a certain amount of strength that we all had, even when we were in high school. But,
Hmm.
we are part of a culture that has positioned us to have to go through this process to be able to freely and confidently become ourselves, and it's not that they had issues with us. They actually had issues with themselves, but it's a lot easier to put the onus on someone else for something that's not working than it is to put it on yourself and take responsibility and ownership of it. But,
Hmm.
to understand that we are actually able to make a difference because we're at this age at this time,
Hmm. All of
and
us.
that our mothers were not.
Hmm.
And the other beautiful thing is that there are so many young women as well who are now starting to say, you know what,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
something to that,
Hmm.
because even with the invisible thing, I don't feel it as much anymore, thanks to Susie.
Mhm.
But yet at the same time, I still see it though. From time to
Hmm.
time, I see glimmers of it.
Yeah.
And I sometimes say things like, you seriously don't see me standing right here? Like I've actually had people come up to me and say, are you in line? No, I'm just standing here just for the heck of it.
Yeah, well, that's the invisibility factor, but you need Deborah. If you take Deborah with you with the hats and everything, the two of you, like, they'll certainly have to reckon with the both of you, I think. But that's
Not
true.
necessarily. If
Well,
you're of a
no, you're
certain
right.
age, they
Yeah,
won't even see you sometimes. I've
yeah,
seen it
true.
happen on the
Yeah,
train,
I've
you
seen it
know?
too. Yeah, it was my
Yeah,
mother actually said that, when she was in her 70s and she was on the subway and, she said people don't see me anymore. Um,
exactly.
yeah, and there's
We
still a
have to
bit of that,
speak
I
up.
think. Yeah, we have to speak up. You're right. But
Absolutely.
I love the point you're making that, we've had this power all along. And so we're just taking it into this age. And I think that's a really good point to make. And yeah.
Thank you.
So Mark, I'm just going to check with you to see if we have anybody who has any questions.
Well, we do have a couple of questions.
Okay,
And
good.
the first one was from Sham, and Sham wants to know when Susie's coming to Toronto.
Yes,
And
that's
they
right. I
also want
think
to
we
know when
have
you're
to.
coming to Paris as well.
That's right, because we've got people from all over the world,
Uh,
right? Yeah.
well,
Absolutely.
I often said I'm New York based and I fly to the UK twice a year and I go home to Australia once a year. And my ambition is that if there's enough women to get together to, form a gaggle,
Yeah.
form that,
Well, let's
that,
call it a gaggle. I like that.
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
that I will come.
Mm-hmm. Because you could have a pop-up, The pop-ups are very where you just show up and say, and everybody comes,
You're
right?
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I would want to know. I'd want to know that the pop-ups
Oh no, we'd have people for you. It depends where
yeah,
we are, right?
yeah.
But
And
I'm
I
thinking
think
we should all go to New York. I think that would be
if
more fun, Sham.
if
Yeah.
if now, I had an experience recently that one woman wanted to be photographed, and she was trying to get other women, and they said, "Well, we're not sure. We're not sure of the timing. Why would we want photographs of ourselves?" And so that's
Mm-hmm.
a constant thing. When I was down at Soho Fashion Week, and these women were just holding up their phones taking selfies. I I don't see that a lot in older women of a certain age,
You
older women.
certainly don't.
Uh,
No, for
and
good reason.
so
Yeah.
it's because it needs to be, it feels like it needs to be a little bit more sculptured,
Mm-hmm.
to spend, and I only want to spend time one-on-one or one-on-two, whatever it is. So certainly, I mean, I'm a great traveler. Everyone says I'm never here, but gee, I've been here for a long time. Um,
Yeah.
but I'd love an opportunity. It fills me up. I get very excited at the fact that some other women are beginning to really see, because actually it was a friend of mine who said to me, when I started Women 60 Plus, she said, this is all about you, don't you? I said, oh, really? And actually I can choose for myself whether I want to be visible or invisible. Before Women 60 Plus, I was putting it out there. It was uh, I was blaming the world for not being visible, uh,
Interesting. Uh-huh.
because people weren't seeing me, but I had not yet begun to see myself.
Yourself. Yeah.
Mm.
And so that's what I'm working towards. That's why it's very intimate. And I think that like Faraha and Deborah are saying, is a trust that I can build. And
Mm-hmm.
because I'm a woman photographing women, it's a very, I find it very empowering and I get
Mm-hmm.
very, I really do. It's just,
Well, you're inspiring us. Is there another question, Mark?
Yeah, well, Sham replies, says she'll work to make this happen and that we'll find Pete to go to New York. And she also
Yeah,
says,
yeah.
hats off to you gorgeous, wise, courageous women, Faraha, Deborah, Susie, and of course, Diana.
Oh, thank you.
Dee does ask, have you ever considered creating a book with these wonderful
Oh, yeah.
photos?
We've talked about this. Yeah.
we have talked about that, and that idea is overwhelming to me. And as my husband would say, there's so many books on the shelf or something, but this would be my book.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm in conversation with somebody who might be able to support me in that and help me in that, and just trying to find what would be my niche in that, because I've got a whole lot of pictures and a lot of the women have written a lot of words. So that's my inkling of where that would go. But right now, uh, I think it'll take a year to make, because do I have enough pictures? I always say. I've
Mhm.
got thousands.
Yeah. Oh no, I think that's in your future for sure. There's lots of possibilities with that. If you need any help too, you just let me know.
I,
Because I'm a good person to bounce things off of. But now before we go, I want to, oh, you got one
We
more?
have one more question.
Yes, go.
Barbara asks, how do you choose your locations? Is it
Yeah.
based on the person? What do you base that on?
Hmm.
well, what I love most of all is that if someone is wearing a beautiful outfit, I love to put them in a grungy background. I think it's a
Oh, okay.
function of diversity, really. I have a friend in Australia who's a rancher. You know, she runs a cattle stud, and she always gets on up in the morning and puts red lippy on. And I said, well, why do you do that? She said, I've got to greet my cows with red lipstick. So I managed to get some shots of her, what I really wanted to do. And she loves going out in the evening and dressing to the nines. She absolutely loves it. And I said to her is, I'd really love to get a picture of you in your ball gown amongst the cows. That didn't quite happen, but we got other fun things. I'm pretty sure there'll be a couple of pictures of her when you at the end of the show. But you know, I just love New York is a mecca for amazing backdrops. And the only time I ever rent a studio is if it's chucking it down with rain. I have a woman coming in from California in November, and I'm thinking, oh, she's coming from Los Angeles, not so freezing there. To shoot her outside, bit cruel. So I'm renting a studio in Long Island City, which has got lots of light, and so mostly I'm outside.
Wow. Wow.
Mm.
Great question. Great
Mm.
question. Well, without further ado, then I'm going to go to this next segment, which is we're going to do a giveaway now. Um, because I know, I mean, not everybody's in New York City. So what we've decided to do, Susie and I, is that she is going to give a consult away to one of you who is listening. I'm paying for the consult and I'm happy to do that. You can use this way, whatever way you want. If it's you want to get some tips on taking photographs, or you wanted tips on how you want to be photographed, or whatever you want. So here's what we're going to do. Susie, I want you to pick a letter of the alphabet and not a vowel.
W.
W. All right, so everybody listening, if you live in a city or a state or a province with a W in the name, put yes in the chat. And Mark, you're going to be watching that like a hawk. Let's see how many of those we get. I got to go to everyone. Here we go. Takes a minute here. If we have more,
we've got a couple.
okay.
We've got four. We have so far Margaret, Sham, Susan, and Cattol.
Okay. All right. So then, all right. Now we need. Let's pick a vowel this time, Susie. Or for how you pick a vowel.
E.
Okay. So if you have an A also in that same, or it could be in whatever city, state, or province, you can mix them up. If you've got an A in one of those, see if that narrows it down to one person. I wish we could give all of them a consult, Susie, but
We have Susan and Margaret and
okay,
Sham. They all got A's.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's pick let's ask Deborah to pick another consonant. We may have to do a couple of these, Deborah. So pick a consonant.
T.
B like Bob?
No,
Okay.
T is in Tom.
Oh, T and Tom. Yeah, B and T and D all sound the same. T. Okay. So W-A-T. Do either one of you have a T somewhere in those words? Nope.
Nope.
Okay, pick another letter.
B as in boy.
B as in boy. Wab. Nope.
Nope.
Okay, keep going. How about D like David? Nope.
Doesn't look like it, though. I think there is one. It might be Sham. She's got a D in there.
Does she? Sham,
Yeah.
just respond. Make sure that she responds. She's she good?
Not getting a response. Oh,
Okay.
there it is. Well, yes.
Okay, there we go. So congratulations, Sham. She's going to be, I do actually know this person, a gorgeous woman.
Ah,
She will be lots of fun for you, Susie, to meet and talk to. And congratulations, Sham. That's just great. Well, I mean, I hate to wrap this up, but my goodness, what a incredible discussion we've had today. So I want to thank all of you who signed up for this interview and have joined us today. But I also, ladies, my goodness, thank you for taking the time. You've really inspired us to be who we are, who we want to be, without worrying about our age. And I think we've earned it. You know, I've learned in this session, we've earned it as women of a certain age to be beautiful and proud. So thank you so much. And thank you, Mark, and the team in Vancouver. Have a super month, everybody, because I'll see you later in October with another remarkable woman. I'm just firming that up now, and I'll be able to tell you about it shortly. So bye for now, everybody. Bye, ladies. And we're going to leave you with some additional photographs from Susie Lang's gorgeous repertoire of women over 60. So cue closing slides, and thanks again.